everybody, and welcome to a evening roast. Gosh, I haven't done one of these in quite the long time. I've been asleep all day trying to get my sleep schedule around to make this work, and it's been a mess. It's been a mess a little bit. My light here has died on me, so I'm in the dark. And I've been struggling to hurry, hustle, and get ready. Um, yep. And there's my guest. Hello, sir.
Hey there.
How
How
are
you doing?
you this evening?
Yeah, it's early morning
Oh, that's
Wednesday.
right. You're
Wednesday
you're over
tomorrow.
there. You're over there, supposedly over there in Australia. You know that fake land don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, well, much of it is currently slipping underwater, so there might
Oh,
not be much Australia left
it's
soon.
the
But
it's the next Atlantis, huh?
yeah, it seems that way. It's been another tumultuous year in meteorological events down here, and which has kind of become the norm in many ways for like Australia. It's a strange place in general, but getting stranger. So
Hmm.
that's
Yeah, I haven't kept up with the Australian news as much. I know a few folks from over there, like Dean James of Comics Mate and Kimo Sabi, but I don't get to keep up with the Australian news.
yeah. Look, it's pretty fun. It's pretty great. I
It
mean,
seems like a
Australia's
wild place.
you know I think of it as like a correlation between the United States, except it's like upside down and backwards a little bit. So like you can probably tell I'm an American. I moved here about 10 years ago, and I mean, sort of. I'm actually a dual citizen now of Australia as well, and so this is, I guess, increasingly become my home.
Hmm.
But it's a wonderful place, really. But it does make this kind of interaction between people back in the U.S. A little tricky sometimes, coordinating times and whatnot.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before you hopped in. I haven't done one of these evening streams in a long time. I
Yeah,
normally only do them in the mornings because
yeah,
it's usually pretty hard on me to do them because I'm an overnight guy. Like I'm normally like this is about like an hour before I normally get up for work. Like nope,
yeah.
normally don't work this way.
Well, thanks for making some time and effort to kind of
Oh,
move
no
and
worries.
get
If
my show.
I try to accommodate as much as I can. Sometimes I can't do it, but if I can change my sleep schedule around and get a new fellow on or somebody who's got a cool looking book or something, I try to make it happen. Uh, I see you haven't gotten the accent yet though from over there.
Yeah, look, I can kind of put it on, and sometimes it'll come out. It's usually in a very kind of like, oh, fuck off, mate. Yeah, fuck you, piss off. It's usually like when I'm cursing is when an Aussie accent will sort of start to take effect. Because I think that's you're kind of hearing cursing about half the time in Australia, anyways. So you kind of that's the part of the language that I think you hear first and sinks in the most. Is the Aussies they can curse in a very colorful kind of way. It's pretty fun actually. But yeah, it's a funny kind of phenomenon maybe. Like I think the first few odd years, I kind of noticed I was sort of sounding Australian, and I think
Hmm.
that's where you kind of are trying to sort of sink into that new culture a little bit. But then, like the last, I don't know, 5 years, I think maybe became homesick. Maybe I don't know, and I started like being a little bit more conscious of the kind of accent I was speaking with, and I tried to be a bit more like just talk like you regularly would, and I guess I get more back into my American accent a little bit more
Hmm.
that way. I
Oh,
don't know, and it is what it is. I think
let me
I
see
kind of
who.
just
Let me see who's in the
You'll-
chat real quick. We
Yeah.
got Mo. Hey, Mo. Neff is here. Suge Knight. Gosh, dang it. We got Coleman. Hail. Sim. Gosh dang it, Sim. What are you doing in the chat? You're supposed to be in here. Get in here. Gosh dang it. Mo says, say dickhead in an Aussie accent. He has a request.
Dickhead. Yeah, dickhead.
You dickhead.
You fucking dickhead.
Oh gosh, that just makes me want to go to Comics Mates channel and watch them.
Yeah.
They're always fun, and they got those those Australian accents. Let's see. Oh, Pale Rider's here. What are you doing up, Sugar? Did you what? Ask my manager. What are you talking about, Pale Rider? Gosh dang it! I know, Pale Rider. I shouldn't be up right now. Gonna make me grumpy. He's locked in my basement. What? Oh Lord. No, I had to. I'm up today to have on Mr. Daniel here. You know, Invisible Ink Studios. We're gonna be talking about Lobo, and it interested me. Here, let me bring it up real quick. Normally, I spend about 10 minutes, you know, just shooting the shit, trying to wait for folks to come in. But you know, I'll bring this up. What is this? I think Dutch needs some info. What? I already got my info for that Kickstarter. Go away. But you know, I'd usually, you know, just BS around a little bit, like wait for people to come in before I bring up the campaigns and, you know, get into the meat and potatoes. What? Sugar claims he doesn't have relations with that manager. I didn't have relations with no manager, Mo. This is what they do to me, Daniel. This is how my streams go. It derails like immediately because they start accusing me of degeneracy. And
yeah, it sounds like there's some juicy goss going on here. It's
hell.
Sort of extracurricular activity.
Mm-hmm.
There's their manager you've got your eye on. Is that what's going on?
No, I don't even know what they're even talking about this time. I bring a new guy in, and they got to try to embarrass me.
Yeah.
But I was scrolling through Kickstarter. You know, I usually try to scroll through Indiegogo and Kickstarter and see what new cool books are out and try to have folks on. And I seen this one here, and I was like, hey, this looks pretty cool. I haven't had a fellow doing a, you know, one that, you know, with this kind of like almost Western country-ish kind of style and theme to it in a long time. And I do have a question, Daniel, real quick before we get fully into it.
Go for it, man.
This Lobo, was there ever a movie made about like this story?
Look, I can say this. There's been a movie in the works for a while. Like it's because it's a true story. It kind of falls into this funny copyright area where, like, I mean, it's based off of the story by Ernest Thompson Seton that he wrote like way back in like 1901 or something like that, about his experience being hired to hunt this uncatchable wolf out in New Mexico, and being a bit of a naturalist and expert wolf hunter, as he kind of thought of himself. And he was even prescribed by his doctor to get some fresh air to deal with this sort of, I don't know, exhaustion or something. That was back in the day when like doctors would just tell you to, like, oh, your leg's broken, just go walk around, get
go walk it off, buddy.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Smoke some cigarettes, you'll be fine. You know. And so he was.
Cocaine.
Yeah, exactly. So he was it's told that, you know, just take some time off or whatever, and a friend, I guess, out west told him about this wolf, and mostly because these ranchers had put this bounty out, and so all these kind of bounty hunters were showing up, and pretty much going home with their tails between their legs because they couldn't produce. So he shows up and he spends about 5 months hunting this wolf and the wolf pack. And by hunting back then, I mean, you're pretty much using baits and traps and poisons and stuff. And without getting too into the story of what happens, like he kind of has a bit of an experience, I guess, where he sort of comes to see the countryside. He comes to see the wildlife of the area and see how, I guess, a lot of human influence is taking a toll on the landscape. And so getting back to your question, has there ever been a movie about it? It seems like, honestly, when I read the script from the writer Robert Young, I was kind of amazed I'd never heard of it before. And that was kind of one of the first questions I had too. Was like, how come there's not like a movie about this? This seems like this would be a surefire hit. This could be really good. And so when I asked him that too, he's like, well, look, I've been in contact with some people. He tried, his whole approach was to actually try to option the script that he gave me potentially as a movie script. And then he ends up meeting some other people with like the same script that is much better and, more importantly, actually tied to a project. So there may be a movie coming out. There may not be a movie. That's kind of how Hollywood works sometimes. Someone's got a script for just about every story in existence trying to become a movie. It really can depend upon who sees it and at what time, and it's kind of a bit of a roll of the dice sometimes. Like, it might only get made because some other movie about a wolf is coming out and some studio wants to run their own wolf movie about it, similarly.
Okay. I was just wondering because I remember, I'm pretty sure my mom and them watched a movie called Lobo, and it had like a wolf on it, or something like Legend of Lobo or something like that. So I was just wondering if but it sounds like this is like a well-known like story that's like that's yeah.
Yeah, it was back in like 100 years ago. He enjoyed a relative time of kind of fame and notoriety as both a writer, as an artist, and then eventually as a kind of early conservationist. I use that term loosely because I think like what he ends up doing is he kind of puts in a lot of this effort to try to just like get kids outside and teach them wilderness skills and kind of interacting with the environment and stuff, which might sound familiar. And it's because he actually was one of the founders of the Boy Scouts of America.
Oh, okay.
Interestingly enough, yeah. And I when I learned that detail, I was like, this is bizarre. I can't believe that like this person kind of was involved in all these ways. And so, yeah, he's kind of, the story was pretty well known. It was adapted into like an anime movie, like in Japan.
Really?
Yeah, the Japanese.
Wow.
You can look online, and I think there's a video or a movie called Animals I Have Known. It may have been a show, and I think it was an adaptation of the book he wrote, Animals I Have Known. And it has like an anime version of this guy you see on your screen, Ernest Thompson Seton, kind of talking about these kind of cute, cuddly animals. And our approach is going to be a little bit, I guess, more comic book style, but also, I don't know, a bit more kind of artsy, a bit more ambient, a bit more ethereal, kind of going to try to lean into sort of that, I guess, a visual, emotional presentation of the story, because the story itself, yeah, like a lot of landscapes and kind of stuff like that. And how we approached this story was there's pretty much three main characters. There's Ernest Thompson Seton, there's the wolf, Lobo, and then there's kind of the landscape of New Mexico. And the three are pretty much kind of entwined as far as telling the story and being characters of the story, and kind of talking about how it sort of looks at how, you know, an experience with, I guess, nature can sort of help connect people to, I don't know, kind of what's going on in a way that, like, without that, you sort of can start to think of like an ecosystem as a commodity, you know, or as like simply a destination. But I think what we'd like to try to do is show how this person changes from maybe having that kind of mindset to thinking of it more as a wild place that just needs to be accepted as a wild place, you know. And I think that's something, you know, that's hopefully important to people these days, is trying to kind of stop looking at everything as having a price tag on it, or as like, hey, we could use this as something else, and think of it more as like, you know, actually it does what it does perfectly fine. It just doesn't need you around, you know. And and that's kind of the world we live in, unfortunately. But yeah,
this man should have teamed up with Teddy. Him and Teddy Roosevelt, they could have
exactly,
the world with their pure manliness.
yeah, exactly. I mean, they're both owners of pretty good looking mustaches themselves, you know. That's kind of the fashion back then. But we did a little research on that too, because I was surprised that he and Teddy Roosevelt and what's his name, like John Muir and other kind of early outdoors nature men didn't cross paths at one time or another. And we couldn't really find any definitive evidence that he had met with or been friends with Teddy Roosevelt. But I think at the same time, it's also sort of goes to show how is around that turn of the century, you can't, you know, like you start getting better technology for communication, and photographs are coming back to the general public of like Yosemite and you know, Yellowstone National Park, and people can kind of see like, holy crap, the West is a pretty magnificent place. And you know, at that point, a lot of what people knew of the West was that it was like boundless, it's full of gold, you can do whatever you want, there's no rules, go forth and prosper. And people were certainly doing that and making fortunes out of it. But I think eventually that kind of that wave sort of breaks, and it kind of comes back, and people start to see like, yeah, people are also making a kind of a mess of things out there, and maybe we should sort of try to preserve some of this landscape. So yeah.
All right, let me see what the chat's saying real quick here. Let's see. Sugar just likes to contradict me. I said he didn't have relations with the manager, and now that's a problem. I don't even know what manager you're talking about. I don't know what's going on. What are you going on about? Nonsense. That's all I'm hearing. Sim says, I did not know about this. I'm at Coleman's at the moment. Otherwise, I would join it. Yeah, I know. I was going to make a post this morning about it. And as soon as I got home from work, I ended up falling asleep. And I had to get to sleep early so I could be up. So I didn't get to send a message out till I woke up. But Sam, you know, you're just supposed to be on call 24/7. At a minute's notice, boom, you're ready in the streams. So this is still your fault. Most of my cams also have mics, so I do hear you talking to yourself about your man. You don't have cameras in my house, Bell Rider. And I'm glad you're fine. Let's see. Sugar. Oh, gosh dang it kicked me down there. Sugar is thinking of his favorite movie, Benji. Hey, To be fair, when I was a young lad, a little boy, over at my great aunt's, I did watch Benji.
Oh yeah.
That and Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and like
Oh,
animated
shit.
Disney movies.
I remember that movie.
Let's see. Paramount Sounds and Feelings about the Red Dress Diaries. Gosh dang, Pale Rider. Oh, Aaron's here. Hey, Aaron. Sugar first gatekeeps Sim out of the stream and then blames him for not being on the stream. I didn't gatekeep him out of it. I sent him the link. Let's see. Chris looks like Charles Manson. I can't help it. My light died. Oh Lord. Oh, there's McGee. Hey McGee. Yep. We're just here with Mr. Daniel talking about Lobo, the Hunted and the Hunter on the Kickstarter. Yeah. So how many pages is this, Daniel?
Oh, gee. It's about 65, 60-ish. The full thing is going to be probably closer to 70. And that being because we're going to include a lot of extra content with it. The book has been picked up by SourcePoint Press, which is pretty exciting. We did find a publisher for this. We put together a lot of the pages and artwork you can see here, sent those out to publishers, did the whole publisher dance thing, and pretty much came up only with one offer from SourcePoint. Just how it goes in the comic book world these days, really. You have to, I don't know so much that it's the story you got, but the name you got that gets things published more.
Yeah, there does seem to be some level of a popularity contest with some of this. It does seem to factor into it.
Exactly, and I get why they would have to try to quantify, like, well, how well can your name sell a book as well as the book can sell the book, But anyway, so it's picked up with SourcePoint, and we talked to them about this Kickstarter and how they could help and stuff like that, as far as like mostly like, hey, could you guys help fund this production of this book? And their answer was pretty polite no. So that left us to be like, all right, well, we'll have to do this Kickstarter then. And to kind of try to make it, a bit more unique than just the book that's going to be printed by SourcePoint. We're like, all right, let's put a bunch of like extra content in the back. We'll put a lot of the sort of process pages for how it's done, artwork wise, kind of our script examples, how we kind of go back and forth and sort of add in some more content, change some things around. Because Robert, like, this is his first graphic novel that he's ever written. He's written like a bunch of other books, but a lot of that was kind of your typical narrative literary style, and like a lot of kids books and stuff like that. So reading his work, I kind of had to fill in a lot of like, well, we probably want to make this scene bigger. Like actually that image you've got right there was supposed to just be one panel on the first page. And looking at what kind of narration was on that page too, I was like, dude, let's take this to 2 full pages. Like go big right off the bat, really knock it over everyone's head that like big, broad, spanning landscapes is kind of what the story is going to involve. So it just meant like we kind of reshuffled a lot of the script around to allow for those kind of moments. So that kind of stuff will be involved. Show some of the extra artwork from the complimentary artists we hired. Talk about Ernest Thompson Seton himself, because I'm also going to try to work in some of his art style, for whatever that means, into the actual artwork of the book a little bit. Like it's definitely going to be my artwork and art style, but being an artist himself and a really good one, I kind of thought that would be a cool idea, is to try to showcase a little bit of some of how he painted, or the kind of illustration work he did as well, and see if we can mix it in a natural kind of way, and just kind of take readers more in through a more in-depth kind of experience through the book, instead of just like, that's it, that's your story, goodbye now, you're done. And so yeah, it should be about 65-75 pages. It's a complete story graphic novel, so we're not going to have like any spin-offs or anything yet. I mean, who knows, we could have like Lobo 2 Revenge.
Revenge of Lobo.
Yeah.
That's where it goes. Where we stop following the true story and go into
to embellish something. And I wouldn't be surprised if that version sells like 1,000 times better.
Makes a ton of money.
Yeah.
But you said you're getting picked up by that Source Point Press. Well, I'm not. I know some of what goes on with the industry stuff, and people tell me stuff, but I also have the memory of like a gnat. So they're going to pick it up and they're going to print books for you, right? And then what? They'll put it in stores and such.
Yeah. So the Source Point actually ran us a pretty good deal. It's kind of like, it's an independent publisher, so it's creator owned stuff as well. So we get to keep, the rights to all of our artwork and the story.
That's a plus.
They're essentially kind of licensing the work for I don't know if it's a fixed time or a fixed print run kind of thing. So it's essentially like, yeah, we'll pick it up, we'll print. I think they'll try to do a market evaluation or however they do their thing, and we'll print, say, 500 or 1,000 books, more or less. And then and they have their distributor, I think, is with Diamond and Penguin Random House. So, which is, the Penguin Random House part is pretty cool, because it means that like bookstores,
oh, that's good,
look at this book and they could treat it as a book and put it on a shelf. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, but at the same time, like you said, like Source Point is a pretty small publisher as it is. They typically do a lot of kind of horror, sci-fi kind of books. But talking with the editor, he's really keen to try to branch out into kind of nonfiction historical stuff. I don't know. I mean, like what plans he's got, but
yeah.
I think he saw the potential of what we could do. Like, he's actually, he's seen my artwork with some of my other projects in the past. And so I think he maybe recognized that, like, yeah, this could be a good story. This could be a good book. And, that's my intention with this. That's my intention with all projects I work on, is to produce something awesome.
I think, this could be, I think this could be pretty cool if you could get it into like, what are they called? Scholastic, like the school libraries and all.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool, because I think, I think a young boy or something could really get into this story. I know me as a young boy, if I'd have seen this at like a library or something like that, I'd be like, ooh, and picked it up and would have read it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how we're approaching it too. It's that, like, this is very much an all ages story, and honestly, it's a great story. Like, I usually am pretty pretty self-deprecating about the stuff I work on. I'm like, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's okay. But reading the story, it immediately got me like thinking about a lot of cool ideas for the artwork itself. I mean, a lot of it's, just kind of going to be kind of landscapes, but it got me thinking about, I guess, more about like the mood, the pacing of a comic book. And instead of just trying to kind of like just fit your typical like 4 to 6 panels per page kind of thing. It's like, let's think less about how many panels are on a page and more about like what's the overall impact we want a scene to have, and try to do something to try to do that, create an impact with the imagery. And so well, I think it's going to be a great book. I think everyone wants to think that their work is going to be great. But I think I tend to not talk so confidently about my stuff. And so I think this one is going to be pretty good, though.
I do like the art.
Yeah.
The fur trapper there. His cabin there, that looks nice.
Yeah, another day on the ranch, killing wolves, collecting pelts.
Let me see.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a pretty interesting story too, and I think the whole history about how people view wolves, is kind of weird. Like, still to this day, you've got people like I actually grew up in New Mexico, and that's like an area that's kind of a lot of cattle ranching and stuff like that too. And so, you definitely hear a lot of people that are like, wolves are pests. They kill stock. They do this, which is partially true. I mean, wolves don't actually kill a lot of livestock. Disease kills a lot of livestock, or just cows themselves aren't exactly that smart. So cows will kill themselves by just being cows. Not to say that ranches are totally wrong, but they're also certainly not totally right. But that like perception that a wolf is this like terrorizing force out to rob you of your hard work and your honest pay.
Yeah, they've been over exaggerated. They're the big boogeyman.
Exactly, like the whole big bad wolf thing. And it's a wolf is something like that's really mythologized still, and rightfully so. I think they're definitely very beautiful, very cool animals, but they're just hanging on, in the wilds. Like, it seems to go kind of back and forth between protection and lack of protection every few odd years in some places. And it's like we're trying not to kind of like force a certain idea on anyone with the story per se, because I hate reading stories like that.
Yeah.
I hate reading it, even if it's something I agree with. I hate reading something that's just like, just like, oh, and this is why you should do this and that. And it's like, hey, look, if that's like, tell a good story first and foremost. Like, tell a good story, and then second, if you got a message with it, it should be a part of that story. But so like as you said, like as a kid reading this, we first want them to have like, wow, the artwork's cool. Wow, the story is cool. I like the part about the wolf. No one could catch him. Like he would intentionally set off all the traps without getting caught. Like he would intentionally drag poisoned meat, away so that none of the wolves would kind of be tempted to eat it. And this is all true. It's like this wolf was like almost supernaturally intelligent in the way that he operated. And so it's like that quality unto itself, I think, is going to really make people enjoy the whole story. But fundamentally, too, we kind of want to draw attention to the fact that like wolves are still a threat in many ways, from hunting as like trophy hunters, really, I think.
Yeah.
And then second, from like ranchers who view them as pests or whatever. Ranchers got a weird sort of, I don't know, like perspective like as I guess Americans are all a lot like this. Actually, everyone's like this in many ways, but like, this is my property. This is my land. I've got it all fenced in. So everything, every bird that lands on it, every breath of air that passes through it is mine. And it becomes this really, and it becomes this like really sort of like, yeah, sure, man. I get that that's how you want to perceive that, but like, the bird doesn't know that. Like the deer don't. The wolf doesn't know that shit because it doesn't care because it's also not really real. You're playing make believe about ownership. We're all playing make believe about it, really. But and like trying to communicate that kind of stuff to people, you're gonna meet a lot of backlash sometimes, and that's why I feel like you can't talk to them. You can't talk to them like that. You got to talk to people. I think people are more apt to change their mind after experiencing a good story than if you just go up to them and be like, "You're wrong."
Yeah,
You're wrong.
start finger wagging. Yeah. When it comes to stories, like I don't really like feeling like I'm being preached at or propagandized to. If you're gonna tell a story and have some sort of I don't know, current day topic or something like that in mind, I'd prefer you present it and maybe pose a question and then present both sides of it and then just let the reader make their choice. Don't try to show your biases or push something on them. Just let them make their decision or keep it subtle or something like that in the background.
Yeah, it also makes for really shitty stories too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you've traipsed into the arena of propaganda.
Yeah.
And even if it's for something you would otherwise agree with, it's kind of like, this is just stupid. I can't actually agree with this anymore because it's just stupid now.
Oh yeah, like I've seen older comics that did that, and I've seen a lot of it in the modern time frame that's done that, and even like you said, even with the stuff I agree with, I've seen it, and I'm like, no, I'll just go over here get some other one. Like I just want a fun story. I don't want. I read comics to kind of get away from all that, like have fun and see interesting things, not be finger wagged.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me check the chat here. I haven't done that in a while. We got Mose. Instead of the bus station restroom, red dress time with sugar dancing on the peak of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Come on, the stone beast of blow skirt. Gosh dang it, guys! This is what this gets. They get worse when there's a new guy.
Yeah, there's some hard hitting questions in this chat.
Does your guest know why you like to wear red dresses? That is not true. I wasn't hitting on any middle-aged Mexican men. They hit on me. Oh, he probably doesn't even know about Sugar's ex-wife, baby. She's not an ex-wife. There's a lot of in jokes in this channel, Daniel, unfortunately, and they like to bring them up a lot. And they never cut me any slack. Good stuff's here. Hello, sir. He says, did I miss Sugar's vocal performance? No. Did we get a backer? I don't think so. I don't think we did. That's the one thing that's what I'll be honest with you, Daniel. I'm not a huge fan of Kickstarter. I don't, as a backer, I'm not. I don't like how they wait to take the funds out, and I always feel like it's really clunky to go through and pick stuff. But and then as a streamer, it annoys me how it automatically updates. It's kind of cool to see it, but at the same time, I like how with Indiegogo, I hit the refresh button and it updates the backers. And I'm like, oh look, we got backers.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of little things about Kickstarter that annoys me, but I do use it sometimes. I just backed last month. I backed a book called Mara. I backed it.
Yeah, looking into that. I don't know if I backed that or not. Yeah, it's a kind of love-hate relationship with Kickstarter. Uh, I think it's done us pretty good, or it's done me all right with the two campaigns that I've really done. I've been surprised by how many kind of random people find the project in general, and then hand over a considerable amount of money for stuff. Um, yeah, I get what you said though about it can be a little clunky finding stuff. It can be a little weird selecting stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like with Indiegogo, I can just scroll down, hit the button, hit the add-ons, hit the thing, and done. And that's it. It's done. It takes the money out. With Kickstarter, I got it just feels weird trying to get my backing, and then they don't take the money out till later. And then a lot of people use that what is it, backer kit or something like that, and then I get like an email about that, and then I got to go through and fill out a survey, and I'm like, dang on, all this just to get a dang book.
yeah, exactly. I kind of wish they would sort of change a lot of that stuff because it's really confusing, and I kind of think a lot of people. I've heard this from a lot of people that they're like, I don't trust Kickstarter, and how I kind of hear it is that I like your book, I like what you're doing, but I don't trust Kickstarter. I'm like, what are you not trusting about? And it's like, oh, I've been ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sort of, misled or conned, or I've heard about, like, the one I hear a lot is I've heard about stories of this stuff happening. It's like, cool. I totally get that because that stuff has happened to me too. But I mostly tell people like, yeah, but look, you're going to deal with me. Kickstarter is just the platform on which we're going to work together on this. We're going to talk and I get to take your money. But fundamentally, it's kind of like, I usually try to have most of the book finished before I would like to have had most of the book finished before even running this Kickstarter because
Yeah.
I don't like to try to mislead people like as far as production goes because people can wait, but people get impatient too, especially when you've paid for something like 5 months ago and you're like, where's that book I
Mm-hmm.
ordered, and I think that's fair, because it is a bit of and that's why I think some people do things differently with their campaigns. Um, and I think it would be better too if they could try to keep as much stuff in house instead of like whatever backer kit. Like I'll be using backer kit mostly because it offers this one function which Kickstarter should have, which is to just reimburse people some money. It's like you already have their credit card details. Why do I have to have a third party to just give back,
Yeah, just auto
$10
refund.
because I overcharged them for shipping or something, or they
Yeah,
didn't want it?
I've backed hundreds of books. I think at this point through Indiegogo and Kickstarter, and yeah, I can understand their apprehension about it because I've been burned, multiple times now. There's creators that it's been years since I've heard anything, gotten any updates, nothing, just completely gone. Don't know even what happened to the creator. Or there's campaigns I know I'm not getting the book, and it's like that sucks. You're out money and everything. There's other creators that's taken years to get their book out, and by the time I get it, I've lost all hype. I'm like, well, oh, I finally got it, I guess.
Yeah,
And I definitely
exactly.
won't be back in the next one because I mean, I don't want to wait that long to get a book. But
No, I mean it's sort of like, yeah, it really it's a weird. That's what I mean. It's a weird relationship because it's kind of like the whole idea is to try to raise funds to then do the thing you're trying to sell, but getting people to be patient with that because it could take years. Shit happens, and
yeah,
but at the same time, like people should be able to expect
oh,
you produce what you said you're going to produce and be able to produce it in a relatively timely manner.
yeah. I will.
I
I if you're regularly updating,
Yeah.
people, keeping people in the know on what's going on, and you have legitimate reasons for why there's the delay. I can be fair and be like, okay, it's been like a year. All right, but he's had a lot of stuff going on that was out of his control or this or that. Like, all right, that's fine. But when it's like no updates, or you only update once every long time, and or you're just goofing off, or you misused your funds or this or that, then it's a bad problem.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
probably won't be getting any more money from me.
Yeah. So the due date on this is tentatively November. I was trying to be pretty optimistic and think we could definitely do this by October, but it's probably going to be more like November. Um, it's it's really just a matter of like prioritizing it. I'm finishing up. I should be finished with yet a different graphic novel I'm working on. I'm just doing the line art for it, and so I can kind of get that put finished up and put to the side. That's another historical fiction type book about Socrates, the Greek philosopher.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, been a pretty fun project to work on. Get to lean into kind of ancient Greek architecture, clothing, culture, all these characters like Plato's in it, Aristophanes is in it, Phaedo. And so that project is going to get wrapped up ideally in the next few odd weeks. And then it's like game on, full speed ahead, just working on Lobo and try to get this produced by the end of the year and get it produced in like the way that I want to see it really come together. Like, as an artist, you really want to, you go through that thing where you're always like, oh, is this really good enough? Is this like, can I do better? Is this too much? Am I overdoing it? And so, fundamentally, you got to just like get it done, get it finished, but make it count. You got to hit both things. You got to make it look awesome, but fucking get it done.
Yeah.
Same time.
Yeah. Got to work out that balance.
Yeah.
Wait, Moses Sugar didn't put the title of this book in the description because he doesn't want Phil to show up. No, I thought I did put the title in the description. I thought I put the link and the title in there. But yeah, Phil might get confused. He might see Lobo, think of the DC character, get excited.
Yeah, I know. I've been getting that from a bunch of people. They're like, Lobo? What are you? This isn't Lobo. And I'm like, well, look, man, it is.
It's like the main man.
Yeah, it's not that Lobo. It's a different Lobo that was also called Lobo way back when. So, I mean, we had to do a little bit of. We talked to like SourcePoint about that too. We're like, is this something where you're going to get sued over by DC, because DC's can be particularly a little bit persnickety about their intellectual property. And well, as far as they looked into it and they said, well, because it's like a historical figure or historical event, and that's the historical name of it, that's not in conflict with Lobo, the villain of Superman.
Yeah, that's good. We don't have to worry about no lawyers knocking on your door.
Hope not, because I mean, at this point, it's pretty much done deal. So, but
I'm not singing "Color Me Bad." I want to sex you up, Fisk. God. We didn't even get a backer. He was going to do the Power of Love. That's like the Aussie accent earlier. Got him all worked up. No. Oh my gosh. Oh God. Why did I do this stream? What am I doing? This is fear. Oh Lord. Oh gosh dang it. The thing kicked. I hate when it does it. I'll be scrolling through the chat and it'll just kick me down to the bottom. I don't know why it does that. Let's see. Lady in Red. Mo says, "Can we please just have the characters call us bad people and tell us how we could do better, preferably directly breaking the fourth wall?"
Yeah, I'll just pull it all out at the last minute, where it's just suddenly fourth wall drops, and
Yeah.
a bunch of shaming comes out at the rear.
It says Sugar said he's a staunch environmentalist and will hashtag twerk for wolves. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh Lord. Mo says a wolf once cosplayed as Sugar's grandma. Oh, that's right. Fist says I never pay for sermons. That's right.
Yep.
We don't want to get preached at. I've found if you tell them they are wrong and then follow up with a throat punch, they usually come around. Oh, Coleman's free in sim. Oh, you're letting him out of the basement, are you? His family didn't want to pay. Be there in 20 minutes. Let's see. Quit being lazy and just write the backer number down when you start the stream. Oh, that takes work, Mo. That takes work. And Sugar don't work. Let's see. Oh, we got Horror Radio with us. Hello, sir. He's telling Coleman, better chance they'd pay you to keep him. Let's see. Pelrar says he doesn't even like comics. He's just here to torture me. I can believe it. Pale Rider. You probably haven't even backed a single book on these streams. Probably just come in here to give me hell. Fist says Kickstarter has a larger potential market than Indiegogo, especially if you're not Streetway Man. Indiegogo just has a better UX. Yeah, there is a lot more people there on Kickstarter. It seems more, and it does seem like more eyes. You can potentially get more eyes on it.
Pretty much. That's kind of.
I have noticed that there does seem to be specific audiences for each Indiegogo and Kickstarter. They all like there does seem to be like the majority of Indiegogo likes a certain thing more than Kickstarter does, and things like that.
Yeah, we are kind of thinking of running a Indiegogo campaign, a lot less money, just something to kind of like for what you're talking about, just to float the project in front of different viewers, different people that Indiegogo's that's their thing. That's what they're into. They're not about to cross sides. That's fine. Don't, because like you said, Kickstarter kind of has a sort of an audience around it. You kind of see that. You look through a lot of their projects and you can kind of get that idea pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas with Indiegogo, I think one issue is that, like, I forget what kind of percentage they take out, or how they would charge, like as a creator, how they might charge you more or less for like for the fee of taking money or something like that. But yeah, it's something I'm going to look into pretty soon, because at this point it's like we can do another one and see if people react to it similarly on Indiegogo.
Yeah, I mean, it can't hurt.
Can't hurt, exactly. And all the while I could just run it in the background while I'm working on the actual book.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I've already been doing the Kickstarter, you can roll over a bunch of stuff pretty easily onto Indiegogo.
And that's another thing I like about Indiegogo is it has that in-demand function, where after the days are up, it just stays on. Because that's something that's happened with Kickstarter. Is I'm like, oh, I like that book. I'll have to back it here later. And then when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back it, it's already over and I can't get it. And I'm like, oh well, yeah, never mind then.
Yeah, I think they may have tried something like that. That's kind of what I thought might have been still possible. But I've been noticing that either it's something you can select for your project or not. So you either elect to have something like that with your project after it finishes, or you just cut the cord and you just walk away, and you're like, that's all the money we want. We'll see, but like you said, like I think I'd probably just run it on Indiegogo anyways, just to get that different kind of exposure, and not try to have to push the whole promotion thing as hard as I was trying to do it this whole last month. Because I hate crowdfunding. It's a pain in the ass. It's just it's a lot of work. It's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of trying to bullshit people and not bullshit them at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people get stressed with, crowdfunding, worrying about stuff and everything.
Yeah, I mean, like once you hit the goal, then it's kind of like, cool, we're done here. I'm glad that was it. But a lot of the whole like algorithm thing is like, if you set your target really low and you hit it really quick, then the algorithm kicks you up. It thinks you're doing really, really good. And if you keep, if you go like 200% over your funding limit, then it'll advertise you more. So I see a lot of projects that intentionally do that. They actually need like, $8,000, but they're only going to ask for $2,000.
Yeah.
Because they want to get there first really quick, and then assume and hope that inertia will carry them up to
that momentum keeps going.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I was kind of like, look, I don't really want to run that risk, so I'm gonna actually put it at close to the dollar amount.
Yeah,
it's actually quite a bit under, but I think in the next few days when this wraps up, we'll be at a good spot. I mean, like, we're almost at $9,000, and I can definitely work with that much.
Yeah, I've seen people do that with Indiegogo. Like the big guys, they'll go and put their campaigns to like $500 minimum because they know they'll hit that like that immediately, and then they'll get promoted by Indiegogo, and then that'll get them more money. And I've seen back in the day, I've seen people try, like the smaller guys did something similar where it was like, oh, well, I actually need like $2,000 to $4,000, but I'm going to put it to like 1,000 or 500, and then hope I get there. And then they didn't, and then they were like, oh great, now I'm stuck with all this. And I don't have, it kind of screwed them.
Yeah, indeed.
It's like,
yeah, like that's if, I don't know if people are even interested in this, but like you gotta have a fuck lot of material. A lot of content to work with up front, because you've got to make, like, your images are going to be what sells the comic, and fundamentally, if you're lacking in that, it's not going to pull random people onto your project. Like, you got to have that really cool image for your project. You got to have a bunch of stuff you can float online. You got to have maybe a video to post and all this stuff. And, if you can't do it yourself, you got to pay someone else to kind of make it. And so it all can add up, and it really just becomes I don't know. It all becomes something you have to do, but it takes you away from the job you actually want to be doing and should be doing. Like making the comic,
Yeah.
And so
people underestimate like how much goes into the crowdfunding and all the planning and the business that works with it, and especially the promotion, the marketing and promotion. There's a lot to that, and people just come in thinking they're just gonna, well, I'll just throw it on there and I'll make the money, and it's like that's not really necessarily true.
I mean, unless your book's all like tits and ass, and then it'll sell itself.
Yeah.
Those books do just fine.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that on Kickstarter. There's a lot of the booby books, and then they start making money because people are buying those booby covers.
I know. It's like, it's like, that the internet is like just loaded with boobs and tits.
Yeah, like why are you buying that?
You can get this pretty much anywhere you want. But it has made me question, like, what am I doing with comics? Does Does anyone give a shit about this story? No one's gonna care about wolves. I should just be writing a story about, tits and ass, and I could definitely include some wolves in it, and I'm sure that would definitely tick someone's box.
Yeah, that'd probably be the easier path.
Yeah, man, that's it. It is the path of least resistance, but most profit. So
Yeah.
whatever.
What's most serious? That Sugar could easily get his books on comics we love if he did the pitch video in his red dress and his 3 wispy chest hairs proudly on display. Oh gosh, dang it, Mo. Let's see. To be fair, I've heard the same thing about Indiegogo from people that are Kickstarter fans. Oh, really? Really? I always felt like Indiegogo was easier to use than Kickstarter. Maybe it's just, because Indiegogo was the thing I really started on using first. So now maybe it just feels different and it's weirding me out. I don't know. Fist says if a book takes years to get made, the campaign was launched too early.
Good point. Pretty much. Yeah.
Sugar is obsessed with some aspects of ancient Greek culture. I see what you're trying to insinuate there, Mo. Hey, Sugar Chris, did you get your new? I never can say it. Aslan standee yet? I shipped it last week. Got it right here. Got it right here, Fisk. Yes, Fisk did a book called Infinitale Chronicles. Really, really well done, and it came in a nice fancy box and everything. And he's going to eventually make like a tabletop, set in the universe and everything. Quite good stuff. I have the 4 pages of the Red Dress Diaries done. Just have to get what voiceover? It's what? No, there's not. You've got nothing done. There's no Red Dress Diaries. It will never exist, Pale Rider, unless I make it. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. You did put the title in the description. It just worked better as a joke. Okay. No. I was going to say, I could have swore I put it in the description. What? It's good to see Sugar is consistent, whether it's morning or evening. Chris is still behind in the chat. I'm working on it. I gotta focus. Priority comes first with the guest in the book here, and then the chat here. I gotta try to balance both. In the Red Dress Diaries, Chris will solve climate change with his twerking. That doesn't even make sense. Oh Lord, we got Infinity. Hello, Alejandro. Hope you're doing well this evening. Oh, he says he's just saying hi before bed, tweeting us out. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Fizz says he actually had double the number of backers in demand for book 1 than during its active campaign. Yeah, that's another thing I've noticed with in demand on Indiegogo. Like you'll have your campaign, you'll get your funding, people will back it, and then you send it out, and you get your bump at the beginning. You get like a sales bump at the beginning, then you get a sales bump at the end. And then you'll get a little bit of a bump after because everybody gets their books, they're tweeting them out, they're showing them off, they're talking about it. And then, you'll get some, you'll get like a third bump sometimes when you're in demand because people are like, oh, hey, I'm going to go get that,
Yeah. Book now. Yeah. Huh.
So it seems pretty interesting how that works.
Approach. Keep that in mind.
Neff said there's a way to just. Mo says he thinks Neff said just roll your. Oh yeah. There is a way to roll the campaign over to Indiegogo in demand because it'll say like you've raised so much money, and then it'll say so much of that money was raised on another platform. So you can roll it from like Kickstarter, roll it over to Indiegogo in demand if you want. I know that is a possible thing.
Right, that'd be useful. I'll check that out.
Yeah, I've seen people do it. How effective it is versus like just starting a Indiegogo campaign on its own. I don't know. I don't know which one is a better option, which one makes more money.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Let's see. Sugar, the smaller guys, you're not supposed to talk about your class like God damn it. Oh. Before I started the stream, I was over on Neff's, and speaking of Neff, I just seen him in the chat. I was over on Neff's channel, and they were talking about me in an alley with men, and I will catch a break, Daniel. It is sad when the titty books make bank, while the books with actually decent stories often don't make their funding goals. Yep, that's true.
Yep.
How does it say? The lowest common denominator thing, I guess. Let's see. Sugar Chris wears red dresses, and sometimes he hangs out. Hangs out with strange men. Gosh dang it! These two things may not be directly connected, but they're also not mutually exclusive. Alexander says this book looks great. Yeah, yeah. I really do like the art, and it does remind me of like movies I watched when I was a young lad. Those more nature focused stories with like wolves or and of course I also grew up watching westerns as well, and
Mhm.
that's what this kind of reminds me of. Like, gosh, I can't remember think of it. Like, Disney had a bunch of like wolf, where wolves were the character, like one of the main characters, and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Was
And
White Fang or something
yeah, yeah,
or
White Fang and those other kind of movies. I remember watching those as a kid and enjoying those. So that's kind of the feeling that makes me think of with this. And
yeah.
have you thought about trying to reach out to the Boy Scouts about this book?
We did well, sort of. The Boy Scouts are kind of a group that we felt we didn't really want to. Cause let's just say that, as you may or may not know, the Boy Scouts are kind of going through some litigation for some
Oh,
abuse
oh
cases
yeah.
from kind of a while. The Boy
Oh,
Scouts have also been not exactly the group that they were intended to be when it was first created. I think they teach a lot of this. I mean, some people have had awesome experiences with the Boy Scouts, and I'm not trying to say that they're not. Some troops are. Some troops are imperfect, and some troops I think do their job exactly as it's intended.
mm-hmm.
But it'd be also like trying to ask, like the NFL if they would want to participate with your story about football. It's like it's a massive corporation.
Yeah, right.
Even talking to someone is really hard to do.
Yeah.
I did reach out to the Boy Scout Museum, which is in New Mexico, and it's actually the place where Lobo's, spoiler alert, Lobo's pelt is on display in like a framed kind of thing. And that's where they talk about Ernest Thompson Seton and Lobo. And because Seton actually has like I think it's called the Institute of Learning or something like that in New Mexico, in Santa Fe. And it sort of is about his kind of vision about teaching people to, I guess, be stewards or whatnot, or just get outdoors and have fun and learn about animals and stuff like that. So I did talk with that museum, and the guy who runs it pretty much said, look, awesome looking book, really like the story, really like what you guys are doing, but we can't promote this because it's a Kickstarter, and because I think they don't promote outside stuff. It's like,
Uh,
if it's just the Boy Scouts, they'll talk about their events, they'll talk about this or that, but they're not gonna. I
they
don't know
don't
if
mess
it's just their
anything.
policy.
Yeah, they don't mess with anything outside of Boy Scouts, I guess.
If it's got anything to do, even if it's like, well, this is kind of the history of the Boy Scout movement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This ties
sure.
very closely into
Yeah,
their stuff.
like
You'd
it's
think.
about half the stuff in your museum,
Yeah.
but to be fair, I think the guy was like, look, it's above my pay grade, and it's
Yeah.
that they're not really gonna go for because they're just not
Yeah.
gonna make it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be really cool to have this. Like, you could have copies of it there at the museum. You could have, some of it, copies distributed out to the various, Boy Scout groups. But then again, like you said, like when I was small, Boy Scouts was about like respecting nature, learning wilderness survival techniques, things like that, helping others. And now, from what I've seen anyway, through social media, it's morphed into something pretty different.
Yeah, exactly. It's become a sort of kind of quasi nationalist type of, I don't know, and maybe that's, I think that could be a bit of like, what's a rotten apple, and is it the whole barrel, or is it just a few rotten apples kind of
Mm.
thing? I think it's, yeah, exactly. But I mean, like, talking with the guy at the museum though, he was like, when this is in print though, come talk to me, because
Oh, okay. That's good
book
to hear. Yeah,
we'll
maybe.
definitely stock your book here. We would just need to go through your distributor and the publisher and stuff like that. And so I was like, that
Oh, that's
sounds
good. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, when Source Point starts to print it out and get it out to different places, maybe then they'll take it more seriously, or you know.
yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like phase, I don't know, 4 of like the whole promotion, production quality or concept of this, because for this is where we're at right now, is just trying to get some funds to pay me to produce this book, to pay for my
Mhm.
time for doing
Yeah.
it. And then of course pay for the printing, the exclusive printing of it. But then when it comes out to print, then it's just like approach schools, approach libraries, approach bookstores, approach the Boy Scouts, talk to wolf sanctuary groups. Actually, we've been talking with them quite a bit, and they've had like the same response. Some of which have gotten on board about promoting it, and then some are really kind of cagey. They're a little dodgy
Mm.
in what they talk about beyond wolves. So, which is fine. We were just like, we'll tell you what, when this gets into print, we're happy to donate a few books to your bookshop, and you can, just because you're sort of doing something that we also agree with.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, like that back end part of sort of making a profit off your book, there's still a lot of promotion that goes into that. And like you were talking about, you get that sort of third bump on a in demand, because like once it starts to come out and people start to talk about it, people are going to start to be like, huh, all right, I want to check this out for myself. And so, yeah, getting into libraries or bookstores and trying to get it to that right audience. I think kids will like this, young adults like this, adults should like it, because I think it's a pretty great story.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is certainly one of those all ages books. It doesn't. One of the things I've seen with modern day all ages is they'll say it's all ages, but it's almost like they're treating you like you're a baby or
Yeah.
something. And this, no, you
Mhm.
can have, like this. This is just a story that everybody can enjoy, and kids aren't stupid,
No.
like, it's just they're, but they're not adults either. And I don't know. I just don't like the way current day all ages treats things, like how they act, like they treat people like they're children, like completely tiny children. And I just don't like the way all ages is treated now. But I do
Yeah.
I do like the way this one looks. What's
Thanks, man. Yeah.
In Texas, I saw a red wolf from a distance and a gray she wolf up close. She wolf was a sweetheart, but her claws did leave marks on my chest. With Pale Rider, I'm worried he's talking about a different kind of wolf. I
Yeah.
don't
You gotta
trust him.
She Wolf, man.
Uh,
they will. They can do
every
some damage.
channel is live tonight. Yeah, yeah, it seems like it. I used to do Tuesdays for the evening roast. I used to do that because I'm off on Tuesdays, but it seems like Tuesdays are a bad day for evening streams because everybody's live.
Mhm. Yeah.
But it is what it is. People can watch the replay.
There you go.
Um, if they miss us live. Let's see. Soul said, "Is there a trailer? Are we going to watch it?"
Yeah, nah. There's an
No, no
Aussie
trailer.
there's an Aussie term you'll often hear a lot. Yeah, nah. Yeah, nah.
Yeah, nah.
Which means no.
Yeah, sorry, Soul. I know he's gonna
I was
watch it and be like, "Where's that
looking
trailer?"
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but then again, like I was mentioning, like you got to have a lot of content to work with, and I was looking at what I had, and I was like, it'd mostly be me, talking on a video, which isn't the worst trailer in the world, but it's also probably not. I was like, I don't know if this really matters, and so just kind of left it off.
Well, well,
Yeah,
Daniel, I can tell you right now, if it would have been that trailer, I wouldn't have played it. I I know Kickstarter has a lot of those like 10-minute long videos where it's like the guy standing there and he's telling you who he is and why this campaign means so much to him and all this. And for me personally, I can't stand those trailers.
yeah,
I really just want a short video that shows me the book, tells me what it's about, and that's it. Like, like, because that's what I care about. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want to see. You can put your why you're doing it and stuff down towards the bottom of the page there, and I might read it or something. But really, it's like, sell me the book. Tell me why I should be excited. Give me the relevant information, page count, stuff like that. That's what I want to know.
exactly.
Like,
I'm of the same opinion. Like, there's never been a video that sold me on the project. Like, it might be kind of cool. I often think like it kind of does a bit of disservice to the comic book because, like, comic book is just static images. That's
yeah,
it. That's kind of how you're supposed to see it. And then people will put in all this time and effort to like animate it and do a voiceover and sound effects and all this stuff, and it's just kind of like, what's the point? Like, you're not. I don't think you're making it any better by fucking around with it. It's just like, just show the image, show some images, say what it's about, and then that should be that. And that's kind of how I was looking at it. I was like, screw this. I'd rather spend that time making some extra artwork that just looks cool
yeah,
and that ready to use on its own.
yeah. I'd like like you could do a cool trailer for this book, certainly. Like having it flash by the one page with the wolf howling, and then do like a play a wolf howling sound effect, and you're given the pitch talking about the man and his life, and the legend of Lobo, and all these different things. Given that pitch with some really epic, you know your western music and stuff, and you could really make it work. But
Yeah.
at
Well,
the
now
same
that you're
time, like
talking
the
about
pages can
it,
speak for
yeah,
themselves.
yeah, it could have it shouldn't have, yeah, it really doesn't have to be too difficult. I think for me it was just a matter of kind of like, like, is it gonna really matter,
Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying there. Yeah, like, is it going to make a huge difference? I don't know. Some people they really do like the trailers. People. I generally don't watch them. I'll play them on the streams and stuff for the people that do. You know, but me personally, I just scroll right past it, go right down to the pitch, and look at the pages, stuff like that. I just try to get my information. Uh,
Yep.
Chris is into this book because he likes wolves. Gosh damn it! I want to take that at face value and go, yeah, wolves are cool, but I'm not dumb, Daniel. I know what they're up to. They're gonna try to accuse me of being a furry or some other
Yeah.
nonsense. But in all seriousness, my mom, she really likes like Native American stuff,
Yeah.
and she's into like wolves and things like that. So like she likes going to those events where like the Native American people have like the TP set up and they'll be dressed up and they'll go over their culture and do all that stuff. Like she likes that sort of thing.
Right on. Yeah. Well, and like that's a common kind of association. I think a lot of, like, the wolf, finds itself amongst is a lot of like, um, yeah, like, I guess you say indigenous cultures like in North America, that and like Vikings. I think wolves are like more strongly associated with Vikings or like Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, because I think you'd find that was where they interacted the most, people with wolves. And or like in Europe, it was the big bad wolf.
Oops.
But yeah, a lot of it's like I'm not really a wolf person. I mean, I think they're all right, but I don't collect wolf figurines. I don't collect wolf art.
Yeah.
And I've kind of always thought people that were like really into wolves were like, yeah, okay, cool. Like, some people are like really into unicorns or they're really into, gnomes or whatever. And it's like, yeah, cool, gnomes, yeah. But I think like, yeah, and like dealing like I thought too, like, well, hell, dude, we could probably like tap into a massive market of people that are just into wolves, like surely that this should be easy. And I tried like finding those groups on like Facebook or online and showing it off, but they also like I think wolf people are also a little bit suspicious if you're trying to sell them something, which made it like just trying to tell them about the Kickstarter like kind of difficult because they're like, yeah, I like wolves, but what is this Kickstarter thing? You mean I have to like, get on the computer and do stuff? And it's like, yeah, just like you buy stuff on Amazon or whatever. But it's been an interesting experience dealing with people like that are really into wolves. Some of them got on board, some of them not so much. So
like when you said that they were suspicious, my immediate thought was like they're suspicious. You're like, oh, how dedicated is this Daniel to the wolf? Like Daniel's trying to ingratiate himself into the wolf worshiper culture. It's like a documentary of Daniel.
That's kind of how it seems sometimes. I'm like, man, these people can sense if you're into wolves or not, and they don't.
Are you truly one of us, Daniel?
Yeah, exactly.
Fist says he would definitely reach out to various states, national parks for some mutual promotion, or he put states and national parks.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the plan. We'll see how it works. There's like 4,000 applications. It's pretty staggering, and that's why we're like, yeah, maybe we don't want these guys speaking on our behalf.
No, it'd be more like asking Baylor College to cross promote your book about sports ball. And then he says, if Fist says nationalism isn't a bad thing, the Scouts, no longer Boy Scouts, went full Mormon and is full of kitty fiddlers. Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Sure. I'd heard it had been kind of a bit of it had kind of gone down this sort of
oh my gosh,
hard kind of Christian route, but oof, it's pretty staggering. Yeah, what have unfortunately become in parts of the country, and
yeah, that's awful.
Yeah, I mean,
wow, damn.
Yeah,
hungry like the wolf. Sugar identifies as a red wolf for sure. Gosh dang it, man. Bringing it back to the damn dress. Hey, Pops. Hey, that's another thing now. That's another thing. Some of them call me Cubby now. Ever since Lola came into the chat, because she started saying I'm looking for a bear. You don't mean the animal. Did you say your mom is? No, not in the furries. No, the actual animal wolves. Dang it. Wolves and ponies are natural enemies. It's caused so much friction and sugar. Oh, God. If you're a wolf poser, they will sniff you out.
That's right, man.
Oh, God. We're here. What? Okay, Coleman. I don't know what he means by that. I'm a little worried. Pop says the only thing that happened to me in Boy Scouts was I kicked the Scoutmaster's son's ass. But then again, Pops, that's probably you were probably in the Boy Scouts a long time back, so things might have changed. I mean, with all those geez, with 82,000 allegations, that's
Oof.
pretty bad. Yeah, like they see it sounds like they've got some serious problems in their organizations. They need to get sorted out. God,
Yeah, definitely not what Ernest Thompson Seton was setting out to create.
Yeah, clearly they've definitely fallen far from his original vision. I heard there may be an upcoming arc where Goofanoid infiltrates the Scouts. Oh no, not Goofanoid. Oh geez, we're full of in jokes on this stream today. Oh, Coleman says he just arrived at Sim's place. Oh, gotcha, Coleman, gotcha. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, maybe he'll hop in before we close up. 80s Maid says, hail, 80s Maid. Glad you're here. You can join in on making fun of me, I guess, like Mo's doing. Yeah, Dirt was young when I was in Scouts. Evening stream. I know. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, and I can feel it. Let's see. Before Pops could get the merit badge for starting a campfire, he had to discover fire. There's Tim. How you doing, Tim?
And it would have helped if you'd actually send me the right link. I had to go into the morning roast stream because you sent me an old one that was already over.
Lies.
No. Really gatekeeping me from our show.
Bull.
What's up, Daniel?
Hey there.
I'm the other half of the show. What's up?
The other half. All right.
Don't listen. Don't listen to him, Daniel. He's Canadian.
The right type of Canadian.
He's very sus, as they say.
Says the American. That looks like Marilyn Manson, I think, if I remember it. I said in the chat. See, I'm nice. I say you look like Lemmy.
Aaron said Charles Manson.
I say you look like Lemmy, but they say it's Charles Manson. Yeah. But Marilyn Manson. I don't know.
Between the time he talks and the time I hear it.
Let me see. You make it so easy. So many weird fetishes. No, I have no weird fetishes.
And, look who's there too.
Is that Coleman?
Yep.
Oh, so that's what he looks like.
Yeah, sorry I had to put you through this shit, but yeah, that's what he looks like.
Good job, Sam. You done doxed him. Let's see.
Sorry if I'm a bit late, but I did not know about this stream.
Nobody did, except for me.
Yeah, he's being extraordinarily accommodating because it's 11:30 a.m. tomorrow morning down here in Oz. So
yeah, I know. Like I said, we know a couple of Aussies, like Comics Mate and Kimo Sabi, and they usually when they stream their stream over on their channel, it's like I don't know, like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah,
because I'll be working since I work overnights, and they'll be live, and I'll be like, oh, okay. Let's see. And Shua Chris's lies begin. What? I'm not lying. I never lie. I am like Honest Abe.
Really? You're gonna go there?
Yeah. I have.
Okay. I don't know. I have a bunch of moments where you didn't get up. We were late for the show, and you went #blame Sim.
Well,
I would call that some type of lie.
Yeah, blame Sim.
There you go.
You can always blame Sim.
So it was also my fault that this show was late, right?
No, it's just your fault. You're just now showing up. Gosh.
What's up, everybody in the chat?
Sugar needs to get used to streaming at a time when people are awake. It's good for No, just when you're awake, Mo. Gosh. Besides, everybody's streaming at this time. You know, I got to compete with everybody then, and I never get people. People will never see the stream. Too bloody right. I reckon it's well past the Arvo down under and the Never Never. But see, that all sounds like
Yeah.
gobbledygook
Yeah.
to me.
Arvo, yeah, I got that one right. That was a weird one to learn about. People start talking about the Arvo and be like, the hell are you talking about? It's like, yeah, tomorrow Arvo. Like,
El
you mean
Gargo
that-
saying that I missed the singing. So do we get a backer?
No. I answered for him. No backers. Nope, nothing.
So get to backing, Chad, before you ask for a song. I'm sorry. I cannot have your back if you do not back for him to sing. If you back, and I'll back you, so I'll get him to sing. Other than that, I can't do shit.
I seen you have a bunch of little extras here outside of just the book. I see there's like a bookmark. What all we got here, Mr. Daniel?
Yeah,
Extras.
the bookmark was kind of, I don't know, tried to do something a little bit more novel. And so I was looking around and I saw that you could do like a wooden bookmark. And I kind of thought that would be kind of cool, keep it in that sort of
Yeah, it fits with the theme.
rural theme, exactly. Well, it's sort of been.
Whoa.
Some people are into it, some people not much. But
Listen.
yeah.
There's some
And then we're
weird-
doing like this book plate, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, you went full Max Headroom.
And then mostly, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
were
you
having
kind
a
of
little-
bottled it there
trying to
for a
get
few
some-
minutes.
Yeah.
It sounded like Matt Headroom. If you remember Max Headroom. What's that?
Yeah, you were lagging. You were having some weird lag for a second there, Daniel.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Probably
Yeah.
internet trying to catch up a little bit.
No worries.
But
You got that
Yeah.
poor internet. They don't pay. You're not paid enough to be the paid actor there for your
Yeah.
fake Australia.
it's great.
So Coleman's looking to get Shiv today. He's looking at my library and it's just posted in the chat. What book do you guys want? $20 DM me. I'm like, somebody wants to get
Yeah,
murdered.
I see him back there lurking. Yeah. He's eyeballing
Yeah.
your collection.
And I'm pretty much done setting it up to.
Let's see. Did I miss the singing? No,
nice collection.
nobody back. Sorry. No singing today. Sugar, you can get a chunk of hundreds of viewers or 100% of the 4 people up at dawn. Hey, I might, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe there's not as many people in the U.S. awake at that time, but there's plenty of international folks that tune into the morning roast. So you don't get to, knock them, Mo. They're good people. Let's see. I'm poor. Someone back. Make Chris sing something really good. Of course. That's what you guys always do. Nobody important is streaming because I wouldn't be here otherwise. Oh, come on now, Pale Rider. Wow. I'm glad
That's
to
just
see, I'm glad to see we're on the bottom of your list, Pale Rider. When no one else is streaming, then you come in. Let's see. Sugar likes when his audience is sleeping. Then it's easier to keep his live straight. Oh my gosh. What's that bogan internet? Are you a
Bogan
bogan?
internet, yeah.
Have you become a bogan?
No, you gotta be born bogan. You can't fake it.
Oh, is that how it works?
They'll- Yeah, it's like there's a lot of where I live, south of Sydney, in this city called Wollongong. You can definitely tell who's bogan and who's not. There's a lot of not even ironic mullets walking around. There's some pretty luscious mullets walking around as well. It's a lot of pretty good bogan game going on.
Yeah, see, I all I know about bogan I've learned from like Comics Made, Kemosabe, and Michael Bancroft. So I don't know bogan culture as well. They seem to be like they do seem to be the Australian equivalent of West Virginians. They're a wild bunch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I keep hearing people saying that Australia don't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know where's that from. It's like birds aren't real, I guess, and Earth's flat.
Yeah, that's a good one. Like the whole birds aren't real one.
Yeah, but you know that
That's
started as a fucking parody, but there's actually people believing it now.
Yep.
And it all started for a parody of that shit. And yeah.
And Daniel's a paid actor, don't you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm here to represent
But
the
you know,
continuing,
my bro made a good point.
Australia.
My
Yeah,
bro made a
exactly.
good point. He goes, I will tell you something better than the birds aren't real. Fishes aren't real.
Yeah, there's no such thing as water.
There's no such
It's
thing
all
as fish.
Situation. Yeah.
What defines a fish?
Let's see. Listen to Sugar grandstanding. My grandstanding and hot dogging. Let's see. There is a 2-year-old interview of me with Keith Williams debuting right now. 2 year. Why did you wait 2 years to debut it, Pops?
Mm-hmm.
So I see you got art prints. Is this like some previews here? These pictures here? From the
That's
art
actually just some art for like some digital artwork. You could make a
Oh,
print of it. It's ideally supposed to go like as background for your phone or for a tablet. The
okay.
bottom one being that kind of 9:16 ratio format would suit your PC or whatever, your laptop. Yeah, I just thought it'd be kind of something because usually in comics, like, you're gonna get the digital version of it and like that's it, like that's about all you can get. And so I thought it would be kind of nice to try to offer up some artwork that like, if you can't afford the printing or you just don't want to get the printed version in general, you could still get some extra goodies and be able to read the the book in time. It's kind of worked. I don't know. I think most people, because we were able to bring the price of shipping and printing down, because we can ship and print on both sides of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
A lot more people are going for the actual printed graphic novel.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it is good. Yeah, because shipping's
did
been a
get-
trouble for everybody, it seems like right now.
Oh yeah, and it's probably
It's gonna go up again too.
Yeah. But I did hire some artists from kind of all over the damn place to do some art prints, just because sometimes it's kind of nice to have some artwork available for the people that are into that. Sid Mills, she's a pretty heavy hitting artist, really. She's done work for like Magic the Gathering. She's done work for quite a few comics, books. She's I'd say, professional illustrator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was really good to work with because I think she got into the whole story and really wanted to try to do something that was kind of reflected like what we've been talking about, like the landscape as being a character. And so she produced this piece, and she mostly does like a lot of fantasy kind of digital painting. And so I think this was a little bit not exactly playing to her strengths, but at the same time, I think she still produced a pretty good piece of artwork.
Well, that's good. It's good for an artist to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the two other ones, Matt Parche, I think that's how you say her name. She's French Canadian. She does a lot of kind of wolf inspired artwork. You can find on her Instagram. I really liked the kind of like darkness in the sort of even kind of ethereal sort of style that she works with.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think that's probably my favorite of the three artworks, just because it's got a nice kind of weird sort of vibe to it. She does this kind of the glowing eyes thing that's kind of common with a lot of her work. But some people, it's kind of been interesting seeing if these artworks land with people at all, or and which ones. And so, and just like with a comic book, sometimes what sells it is the story of a person who produces it, not so much even the artwork itself. And so I think, like I was talking about, like Sid Mills' artwork, I think is sold more because when people see like, oh, she's an artist for Magic the Gathering, then it must be a really good artwork,
Yeah, she's got that
for that.
brand attached to her there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
So it comes with like, it's got a reputation.
Yep. Exactly.
We've got a friend. Her name's Katie. She's an artist as well. She's got her own book called Bond. She's really into wolves too. She draws them and stuff.
Technically, the entire book's about wolves, but yeah.
Yeah.
She draws wolves and stuff. Yeah, it's so wolf.
I'm talking about not just the book, but she likes wolves outside of just the book. She also retweets them on Twitter, pictures of wolves, and she draws wolves.
Yeah. Huskies are the best dogs because of it.
Murray Smoker.
Yeah, Mr. Murray, he's fuck, dude. He does some awesome artwork. I recommend people go check him out. He does like crow quill pen and on paper kind of ink illustrations. And when I first saw his artwork, I was just blown away by it. I was like, this is phenomenal stuff. He's also from Perth as well. So he's way out west in Australia. But he was really fun to work with as well.
Between the three, this piece grabs me the most. I like this piece.
Yeah. He does this, like, I don't know if you can kind of zoom in, but if you kind of go online, you can sort of maybe check it out a little bit more. Or even just check out his Instagram, because you'll see the full kind of gamut of what kind of illustration works he does. And he does a lot of this kind of weird shading line work with the shadows and pieces that when I saw that, I was like, this is some awesome stuff. So yeah, really happy with this one as well. It's been an experience working with it. Part of working with these artists, the idea was that, I'm investing in them as much as they'll hopefully invest in promoting the project. Kind of get them to produce some artwork and then get them to talk about the artwork and get them to talk about the project it's associated with, and therefore
hopefully they'll be invested in it, and they'll promote it as well to their followers, and
exactly. And that kind of I don't know if that really worked the way I hoped it was going to work, because some of all of these artists have at least 10,000 followers on Instagram. I think Sid Mills has something like 100,000 or more. So you kind of think holy shit, you usually have to pay pretty big money to get in front of that many people, with your product or something. And so, and she's also an awesome artist that wants to work on this project. So this should be a surefire dunk, really. But she did sort of promote it a little bit, but I don't think she really kind of put in a whole lot of effort.
That's something I've seen from as a YouTuber who promotes, but also from what I've heard from creators is, you get these artists on, sometimes they'll promote, and then other times, just depends on the person. Some people will promote it, because they're, invested, and then others will just maybe throw a retweet or something like that out, and then that's it. And then also I've noticed when it comes to Instagram, these other places, the amount of people that follow you, how many, what's the word I'm looking for? The
It's,
number,
it's the
number
rule of
that
10%.
translate, the rule of the number of people that translate into actual backers, out of those hundreds of thousands is actually really low.
Yeah, they call it the rule of 10%.
Yeah.
In
And
business, that's
kinda
what they
I was
call it.
thinking. Yeah, I was thinking of it too. It's like, well, they might have 10,000 followers, and if 10% of that is thousands, that might show up. Like, that's great. I'll take 1,000
Yeah.
backers. Like that.
Yeah, but is she
success
an artist
for-
that does comic books usually, or she just does art?
I think that's kind of it, like they're
Mhm.
mostly just artists. Sid Mills is probably the one that's done actual comic book work, or at least just done artwork that was featured as like a cover for a comic or a variant cover,
Mhm.
And that was
Because I can tell you, like
pretty
you said, there's a French Canadian artist in there.
yeah,
Never heard of her.
yeah.
I'm in Montreal, Quebec.
You probably would have never heard of either of these ends.
I heard about Sid Mills.
Okay, yeah, and that's kind of
I'm just proving the point, meaning that she's in my area and I didn't know about it because I'm more into comics,
Okay, yeah, exactly. And I mean, as far as I was looking at it, I was like, this is great artwork. Like sometimes you'll see prints that are on offer for a project that are like by relatively well-known comic artists, but the print itself might not exactly be all that amazing, as a piece of artwork.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've decided, like, let's try to find some artists that could just do really good piece of artwork that could kind of stand alone, separate from the book itself a little bit. Like it'll feature the theme of the book, like a wolf and the landscape and stuff, and that might entice people that are really, because this comic book is also not exactly a straightforward graphic novel. Like it's a historical story,
Mm-hmm.
and so the idea of trying to sell it to a variety of people meant, getting a variety of different kinds of art and artists involved. And so,
we've seen the example here. There's some people that got Simon Bisley to do covers, and the book didn't fund that big neither. And we're talking about legend. That stuff happens. It's like if you remember during the 90s and early 2000,
oh, yeah.
Bisley, Lee, a whole bunch of them did a whole bunch of freaking covers.
Yeah,
but they're at 25 cents. They never sold.
Wow, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it's a weird thing. A lot of people think by getting like a big name or something, it will boost their campaign, but it doesn't always do it.
Yeah, it's not always true.
Yeah, that's kind of been the takeaway that I took that more people were interested in my own artwork. They were more interested in paying more to have me illustrate like a small sketch
Mm-hmm.
Than they were in the artist's art print.
Yep.
Which I guess I take as a compliment. Thank you. That's cool. I'm always happy to take more money to to produce something fairly cheaply, but nonetheless, I still had to pay these artists for their time, and they're certainly not cheap. And so it was a bit of a, I guess, lessons learned. Like if you're going to invest in an artist, just probably pick one, and then really try to gauge and really just try to get them to produce really great art, I think, but also maybe lean into try to find one that's got a good name and a big connection of people that are going to like back your project. I mean, of course, those are all things that are hard to tell, up front. And so, I mean, I even straight up like was approaching like a lot of different comic artists just because I was like, fuck it, who knows? People be into this. Why not? And of course, I didn't get like any response from a lot of these artists, but that's why I was surprised when like Sid Mills actually responded to me, and she was like, "This sounds pretty cool. I'll do this. I can do this for you."
That's cool.
Murray and Matt Parche were, I think, because they have nothing to do with comics, they
Mhm.
were a bit more like, "This sounds cool. I've never done an illustration for a comic book before, so I'll jump on board for that." So
Yeah, it was something new for him to.
something new for
Yeah.
them, something new, yeah, exactly, for them to talk about. And they did. I think they did a really good job of promoting the comic. But
Oh, that's
like
good.
you were talking about that sort of 10%, what actually happened was, what's her name, the French Canadian girl, she really promoted my stuff. All that really got me was some of her followers, and that was it. That's where the train stopped. Like they were just like, cool,
Yeah.
I like art, so I'm gonna like you and I'm gonna follow your
Yeah.
art.
Mhm.
But then when I'd be like, hey, you should check out my project, you should like my art, you should book my book too, because it's got artwork in it, book full of artwork. And I don't know that really translated, because
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing, like, you're better off.
I'm thinking it's like, remember back in the days when you would go and you would see a cover and you go, oh, Jim Lee, and his name's on the book, and you're like, you open it and it's not Jim Lee. It's flavor filler of the month.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'm just talking about that. That's the type of reaction that people would get. Like, oh, is she doing the book? Oh no. Oh.
No, yeah. And then part of it was just like, well, the artwork will be in it. It's sort of, I was thinking of doing like a variant cover with these art pieces, but I'm a little bit ambivalent about variant covers. I kind of think it's like you just mentioned, it's a means of kind of fooling people into buying like a.
It depends on crowdfunding. It seemed different, to be quite honest. It's not like throwing like, okay, let's get it straight. It's not, you're not gonna throw 25 freaking covers. But what I mean is, there's people that are coming in going, I want to throw $100 at that person. Get it? So there might, a lot of people are asking for variant covers just so they don't buy the same thing all the freaking time. It's a weird thing in crowdfunding that I've noticed. You have to keep it like, keep it KISS, like keep it simple, stupid. You don't come in with 25 like different variant covers, but do have a little selection that people can go, oh, I'm gonna grab 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you.
Yeah, good point. There's definitely those campaigns, like that's what they know that's what people are gonna want. They want variant covers. They're gonna get the artist that.
And you make one exclusive to the campaign.
Yeah, exactly. And
if you do decide,
sorry, go ahead.
If you do decide to do maybe try the Indiegogo, do a campaign for Indiegogo, you should talk with us. You could offer suggestions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But he's on Kickstarter. You can also send it after the campaign. You can ask to be sent to Indiegogo in the minute.
Yeah, that's what we said earlier.
You mean when I wasn't there?
Like personally, you were talking about art. Personally, if I was going to try myself, I would actually go for, because I like these interiors. I would probably be trying to get some work off of that. Like I like this log cabin with the I like this art. I'd be trying to get like a sketch or a commission, like buy like an original art piece or commission or sketch or commission off the campaign if I was gonna go for art.
Yeah,
myself.
And that's kind of one of the takeaways too. It's like, if you're pretty good at artwork, invest in yourself. Like it would have cost me nothing to produce. It cost me, like, I can't pay myself per se, but to produce the artwork. But if it lands with people, like you just said, if you show up to a campaign and you're looking at all the art and you like 90% of the art, then you're probably going to want that as one of the, perks or rewards or something like that. And so instead of having someone else try to sell their art, you just sell yourself.
Yeah,
should come off as a reward.
Yeah, like if like a suggestion I would have if you were doing an Indiegogo would be if you have original art from this book, maybe offer some on the
Yeah.
campaign or offer some sketch cards or something like that. Because yeah, this is good stuff. You know, like I could see me getting for with this interiors some nice like a wolf and maybe some one of these maybe like this nice landscape piece. Get it for my mom or something like I could see commissioning a piece done with like Native American work and wolves or something. Yeah, for my mom that would be really nice. And it's really good looking art. I like it.
Good to know, man. Right on. That's a good idea. Fuck, I should have fucking come to you guys sooner. If I'd only know. Well, yeah, that's that kind of like, hindsight. You're sometimes like I've only done this is my second Kickstarter, and I felt like it was definitely going to be a different experience. So my first one was for my own graphic novel fantasy series called Master and Apprentice.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was a series that was kind of like where I kind of started taking my comic book career a little bit more seriously. I set out to produce my own comic, and then like just to show off as like a portfolio piece. Like, look what I can do. I can draw, I can write, I can color, I can letter, I can put it all together. And then it sort of started turning into another issue and another issue and another issue. And so running a Kickstarter for that, like I guess I'd already built up a little bit of a fan base, but then the price I was asking was a little low. So I hit that in like 24 hours.
Oh, it's good.
I was like fucking blown away because I was like, holy shit, I thought this was going to take at least 2-3 weeks maybe to get the funding goal. And so, but when I doing this project, I was like, this is going to be quite a bit different. I don't think we're going to hit our funding goal too soon. Maybe, who knows? But a lot of it is like that, you kind of try to plan for the things you can control and also try to be flexible for the things you can't. And
yeah.
Try to anticipate some things. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I think some people, they know how to run these things like tuning a car. But for me, it's been very much an experience where it's just like, let's try this, let's try that. We'll see. Maybe people are into this. People seem to react pretty good to that. But yeah. It's been a success, though. I'll say that. Like, I'm about to get about $9,000. That's pretty awesome. I'm all right. I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, that's solid. I mean, to be almost at 5 figures, that's pretty solid stuff, especially for your second campaign.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to grow. You're only going to get more people, noticing you. So
exactly, and that's kind of the idea with this book as well. Like, and getting picked up by a publisher, that's that kind of like benchmark that I think a lot of people, even artists and writers, like, even if it wasn't a big deal, even if it didn't sell well, you can still say like, yes, I've been published. You can go to other publishers, other editors and stuff and be like, I can make something someone wants to sell. And we'll see how that translates over the next year or two. Because I definitely got some other, projects that I want to continue on with. Continue doing Master and Apprentice. That's been a great story to do. I'm really excited to get onto the second act of it.
Yeah, we'll have to have you on when you do that one too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I ain't heard of that one.
Yeah, I mean it's an add-on with this campaign as well, but
Oh, okay.
You can still see the Kickstarter campaign I did for it on Kickstarter. I don't think they've taken it down just yet. But yeah, turned out all right. It's pretty fun story. It's that kind of like, hero's journey sort of fantasy. It's about alchemy and a master of sorcery trying to impart the lessons of responsibility and survival, but also, how to wield magic and or how to create it.
No,
It's a
no,
little bit of
Daniel,
that sort of self-discovery stuff.
Daniel, when you're talking about your projects, you're not supposed to be like, well, yeah, it's all right.
That's
Supposed to
what
be
I'm
like,
talking
yeah, it's amazing. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
You're gonna love
I know.
it.
Yeah, I know. Look, it is amazing. It's awesome. It's just like I naturally do this very kind of reserved sort of like, yeah, it's okay. Maybe you like it. Maybe it's because like I'm only the artist for this story. I didn't write it, so
Oh, okay.
I'm like I can really lean into the quality of it because I'm like it's gonna look fucking awesome because I think it's gonna look fucking awesome. But when you're writing something, I think you might tend to be a little bit more not even a little, like a lot more self-critical of your story because you're trying to express an idea or a story that's probably not the least bit original or unique, but I don't know. You got to try to back yourself, and I think that's where a lot of artists and writers are kind of pretty insecure about their work sometimes, and they'd rather just draw someone else's stuff or work for someone else instead
Good
of
question,
themselves.
Chris.
Real quick, we got Vengeance with us.
I have a good question, Chris. Are you working tonight?
No,
Okay.
we got Max Edger. Yeah, I know. That was funny. Let me see. All right. Coleman says, doxed again. Yes. Dang it, Sam. You keep doxing him. We're going to have to delete the stream again.
It's not my fault. Look.
He's like, what are you doing? Coleman's like, dang it, I'm on the phone.
He's not on the phone. He's watching the goddamn stream.
Gosh, dang it. He's busy. He's a busy man.
Apologize, you bastard.
But yeah, so speaking of Kickstarters,
And as you can see, I'm a man. I stand for what I do. I am proud of it, and I assume it's everything I did. It was for comedy, and it worked.
yeah, look at that one. Yeah, he's got 18 days left to go on this one.
Oh, you got an extra backer too. I haven't looked at it since I moved. To be quite honest, on the Kickstarter, like on
Oh, yeah?
Indiegogo, we're at like 9,000 Canadian or something. But I haven't looked at the Kickstarter since the move, and I'm like, oh, sweet.
Yeah, Mr. Sims' book.
That makes us over 10K in all Canadian. That's pretty sweet.
Sweet.
So yeah, it's a 100-page book, and you get 4 stories in there, full colored, written, illustrated by me. The Blood Brothers story is colored by me, and the Planet 69 is colored by Scotsman, and the 2 Lowani stories are colored by Beacon. And we're working our ass off to make sure that it's gonna be available before or for November 2022. I only have 15 pages left to do in black and white on the entire 100 pages, so you know that we're gonna get this done. And this is like my 5th campaign, 4th campaign, yeah.
Yeah, and as we were saying earlier, there, Daniel, Sim decided he wanted to try out Kickstarter, so he made sure to put a booby cover up.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's telling me Kickstarter do well if you have a booby cover, and I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's make the exclusive cover a booby cover.
Yeah.
If only Daniel could have found a way to put boobies on his cover.
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't go away from my IP. Everything from the Nadverse, not the Merc. It's all like heavy metal type of thing. So you get the vibe of heavy metal magazine. So there's gonna be nudity. It's no porn, but it's gonna be nudity, tits and ass, and a lot of violence and funny.
Well, I'm a big fan of tits and ass, so
For the second Lobo campaign, Daniel's gonna have a furry cover or something.
Oh yeah.
Then you get the big bundles where you get a lot of stuff, and everything that unlocks on Kickstarter also unlocks on my Indiegogo backer because that campaign ran first. So everybody that got in from the get-go on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, everything on Kickstarter, they will get as well. Doesn't work the other way around though.
Sim, Nat looks like he's wearing mittens in this mold.
Yeah, because I did not model the hands in that one. I started another one.
What are you like Rob Liefeld with feet? Yeah. Hiding them, not wanting to do it.
What the fuck you talking about? It's a 3D model. I didn't sculpt them, you twerk.
Mm,
It's not like I'm not drawing them.
come on, get it right. Do better.
You know how we do this shit? It's like clay. You put something that stands in, then you model the hand and the gun separately, then you go attach to it. You ignoramus.
Yes. Well,
I
I don't know how it's done. I just expect it done. So get on it. Son. I don't have
how
to
do you
really
how do you like working? Well, that's in ZBrush, isn't it?
Yeah, that was ZBrush. Yeah, I have. My background is into special effects and 3D animation. I have a
Okay.
bachelor's degree in that. It's just the thing is, comics.
Right.
I love comics. I'm sorry. And I got myself a 3D printer, so I'm gonna be printing those 3D models.
Far out. Yeah. I like to try ZBrush. I mean, I used to do, like probably a lot of artists. You do a little bit of everything. I used
But
to-
if you haven't really played with ZBrush yet, get yourself Blender. Blender is free. It's an open source program, and it has a ZBrush sculpt in there. So if you're starting from the ground up already, go there. It's a lot of people. They're like you can even do 2D animation with 3D. Like Blender has gone nuts.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of pretty ridiculous artwork done with
Like
Blender.
you could do a 3D scene and go draw your 2D frames in it. Like
Yeah.
that's interesting. Like I
Yeah.
remember in university, everybody was telling me that's impossible, and I'm like, well, it's 2022, bitch, and it's possible.
Naturally, should be. Yeah. I mean, it's
It's
kind
really
of
cool.
that thing. If you can think it, then it can be done at this
I mean, it's
point.
because I learned ZBrush before, so
Yeah.
you go to what you know.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, gentlemen, I'm probably
Yeah,
have to tune
yeah,
off
that's
for
what I was
the
gonna
day.
say. It's getting ready to wrap it up.
Pretty late.
Yeah.
So-
It's 2:00. It's been 2:00 already, and it means it's 10 for me, and like he says, 11 for him.
Yeah. I told Daniel it was only gonna be an hour, and here we are too.
yeah, man.
No,
Oh,
thank you for waiting for me.
Yeah. Sorry, Daniel, if we
It was nice meeting you,
went
Daniel.
over. I apologize on that.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to meet you both. Thanks for finding the Kickstarter. Thanks for reaching out for me, man. It's awesome to chat with some other people that do indie comics and help support each other and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So thank you guys. Thanks for all the people that joined in and checked it out. Listened to me talk about wolves and stuff.
Yeah, and there'll be people who check out the replay and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks everybody who did tune in. Thanks to guests. Guest and
Yeah.
Sim, that guy. Thanks for the chat. Sorry again, Daniel, for going over.
I mean, like I was saying, I was gonna say, it was nice meeting you, Daniel. Even though Chris tried to stop us.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I know, right?
yeah. Tried to keep Daniel all to myself. I'll tell you.
All right,
All right,
guys.
everybody. Thanks.
It's the Alpha Wolf thing.
All right, bye.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for joining us. Do go check out Lobo over there on the Kickstarter. And while you're at it, check out Tales from the Netverse.
Hell yeah.
What's this? Back my next gas tank by buying Sim's stolen book. What's this all about?
Then he can buy his next fill up of gas by
Oh.
buying the book he's stealing from my library.
Stealing half your library there. There you go. Gosh dang it! Now I don't even remember what I was.
But you
gonna
have to admit, it looks pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, you're looking fancy over there. You
I
do
know,
have it
right?
nicely set up and organized.
Yeah, my little Bisleys here. You know.
We'll see how long it lasts, Tim.
Oh, it will last a long time. See, I even have my Spawn poster right here
It'll
above
be
my
a
desk.
mess. See how long before
This
you
is my towel, Kirby. Fuck you.
Oh my! But yeah, this was a little special stream for everybody. I don't know how often I'll be doing evening ones. It just depends on if people, pop up and they say, "Oh, we can't make it to the morning show." I'll try to do these to accommodate them. And yeah, we'll see you all in the next one. Laters.
Later.